there, I'm working on a hex-based puzzle game I call Hekso, and in this second video I'm gonna make some levels. But first, let's see what we've got right now. I'm sure you remember this ridiculously simple level I made in the previous video. If not, be sure to check it out, there's a link in the description. There are at least two obvious problems with this level. And the first is that it's not clear what these two hexes do. They need proper graphics, so let's deal with that. I fired up Aseprite and drew the first thing that came to my mind that could represent the end hex, the goal of the puzzle, a race finish flag. I think it should have a clear enough meaning that this is the goal. For the start hex, I just drew a simple play symbol in green. Later, I may add some animations for these graphics, or maybe I can change them for something else, but for now, this is enough. Now that I have the graphics, I just need to put them in the game. A simple task, but as you can see, I kinda failed. The graphics are blurry. It turns out you need to turn off filtering for the image, since this is pixel art. I'll try to remember that for the future. And now let's look at the other problem with that first level. This is an obvious one. The level is just too easy to solve and not fun. So let's make another one. I have already implemented a way to load levels from JSON files. After all, making a whole level editor is too much for the moment, and JSON is a format easy to read and write, even manually. Since the levels file is basically text, it doesn't offer any way to preview what you're doing. I had to go back and forth between my text editor and Godot in order to see what I'm doing, as keeping track of those coordinates is not too easy. And there we go, that's a level, and it has more than one hex to rotate. That's great and all, but we have a big problem. Editing JSON files to create levels is not fun at all. If only there was an editor for tile maps that I could use and avoid implementing one in-game. Well, of course there is, and it's awesome. In case you haven't seen it, this is Tiled, possibly the greatest tile map editor, which among everything else supports hexagonal tile maps. Let's use that. In order to create a level with Tiled, I first need to create a tile set. I jumped online and looked for something to base my own tile sheet on. The point was just to have something I can use as a template and draw my own hexes on top of. Having found something, I first checked that it looks fine in Tiled, and it does. So I started clearing the pretty tiles by replacing them with plain white hexagons. And after turning that beautiful art into a boring tile sheet, I did a quick check that all is still working fine in Tiled. Now it's time to draw the elements I'll use for creating levels. These will look like the actual hexes I have in the game, but a lot simplified. The goal here is for them only to be recognizable as their game counterparts, as the art from the tile maps made with Tiled will not actually be visible in the game. I then used my newly created tile sheet to recreate the same level I had made in JSON, but now in Tiled, and it was way easier than editing text and hoping for the best. Possibly the harder part though is loading the tile map as a level in the game. Maps made with Tiled are XML files, and GDScript supports reading those according to the docs. I just need to write the code. Which I gladly did, as for me it was interesting to see how easy or hard it was to work with XML files in GDScript. Of course, there are plugins to load maps from Tiled into Godot, but as I said, I don't need the map's art in the game. In my case, the map is more like a definition of the level's layout, which I then convert to pieces of the puzzle. It took me a while, but at the end I was able to switch from loading JSON to loading the map made with Tiled. And there it is, the same level, yay! Seeing how easy it is to make a level now, I naturally wanted to make some more. In this second one, the path from start to end is not that obvious, and it even has a little deceptive shortcut piece that you can't really use. I decided to make one more level, just to have a little more variety and to practice my level making. I realized that the easiest way to make levels is to first construct the right path. Then you add some more hexes here and there and make them misleading, like they can be used but actually not leading anywhere. The more of these, the harder the level would be. As you can see, I prefer to keep these first levels small for now, as they are easier to test with. And there we go! We now have some actual levels to play with and a decent way to create more. Which is great, but more levels are not going to make this game more fun. I think what is needed now is to add some more mechanics, that is, new kinds of hexes that would make the puzzles more challenging and mind-twisting. So I think I should focus on that next. But please share your ideas and comments below, as the more I have, the better. That's it for now, and thanks for watching.